everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina, and happy Monday, everyone. I'm so glad that you decided to come back and join me for another week of a different theme, more episodes, just all the general fun that we have over here on this podcast. Again, happy Monday. I hope that you had a great weekend and everything was enjoyable. And if you did have to deal with any crap going on in your life, I just hope that you're able to problem solve and get through it and just be able to move on, find the best in every situation that you encountered. I absolutely mean that, and if anyone has been here before, you know that that is absolutely true. I always say that, actually we'll get into that in just a moment because I say it every episode, but I just hope that you had a great weekend, you accomplished things, you had some downtime, it was enjoyable. I know that during the self-isolation quarantine time, it's really difficult for us to find as many things to do as we normally do. However, I really hope that you still really enjoyed it. So this week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about patience. And I found that talking about patience this week would be really helpful to a lot of us that feel very cabin feverish, who feel very impatient that we are continuing to have to stay at home and self-isolate ourselves and not be able to do all the normal things we usually do. I know a lot of people that I personally know are missing going to church, going out and seeing friends, having big parties, enjoying the spring and summertime with all the beautiful weather and lots of your friends. I know it's a really big fishing time, and at least in my state, I live in the state of Washington, we are not allowed to do that. And for me personally, I just miss going to TJ Maxx. And I understand that what we're doing right now is super important for the health of everyone around us, and I totally believe in that. But I do know that, and I recognize that it can be difficult. So I just thought that patience would be helpful. Also, just learning about patience for our everyday lives and everything else that we encounter, whether it's quarantine or not, is super important and always a great lesson learned. So before we jump right into today's topic, I just want to say that I hope that you're having a great day, and if you're just getting up, I hope that your day is getting off to a great start. You're able to just go from the jump and get a lot of good things done, and get on a good path for the day. If you're already in the middle of your day and it already seems kind of crappy, I'm really sorry. I hope that it does get better. But the thing that I say every single episode is that I encourage you to spend at least 5 minutes by yourself alone so that you have time to regroup and reboot and just come back to baseline so that you can just find some peace with yourself, figure out how you can carry on with the rest of the day as positively as possible without having any negative feelings towards everything else, without just throwing the whole day away, you know what I mean? So I just want you to find an opportunity to do that so that you can just at least finish the rest of the day up with a neutral attitude that is not going to hinder someone else's necessarily, try to bring them down, and will let you still have some enjoyment for the rest of the day. So I encourage you to do that. Also, it's important to take that time in case you need to problem solve for whatever crap is getting in your way. So okay, so without further ado, again, happy Monday. This week we are talking about patience, and today, Monday, we are going to be talking about what does it mean to be patient. And honestly, I don't think that this episode is going to be very long, but I do want to just highlight a couple things for today. So, what does it mean to be patient? One of the best quotes I have ever heard about patience, I saw quoted by Joyce Meyer. However, after doing some more research, I noticed that she wasn't the only person quoting it, and I honestly don't know who the original quote came from. But regardless, I found it from Joyce Meyer, and the quote is, "Patience is not simply the ability to wait, it's how we behave while we're waiting." And I could not find anything more true about patience because, a lot of times we will tell ourselves that we are being patient because we're just waiting. We're saying, oh, we're being patient because we're waiting, and we are not doing anything until the appropriate time comes or until a certain thing has happened and everything else down the chain is supposed to go however it's supposed to go. However, the best part about this quote is talking about how patience is how we behave while we're waiting. So are we having a good attitude while we're waiting? Are we being diligent in other things while we're waiting? Are we doing the best things that we need to be doing while we're waiting? Or are we just complaining? Are we trying to bring everyone else down with us? Are we trying to cheat the system and actually not really being patient, but pretending like we're being patient? I just feel like there are so many things in there, and I really wanted to make sure that I highlighted this quote because honestly, I feel like I could just end the episode right there and just repeat it again. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, it's how we behave while we're waiting. Because I feel like if anyone, if they just took enough of the strength inside of them, they could wait for something. It's just like how people will wait in line for something that they really want. But it's just, again, how we behave while we're waiting. So it's something to keep in mind next time you're telling yourself you're being patient, or you're telling others, oh, I'm just being patient. But are you actually acting appropriately during that patient time? Especially if the time ends up being longer than you thought it was. That's a good one. That's a good one. So just remember that. And sometimes it's necessary to endure some short-term discomfort for long-term success and satisfaction. So a lot of times we will have to wait for something to happen, wait for an opportunity to come, to flourish, next steps. And that can be really difficult. It can be really difficult. Like, despite how patient you can be as a person or how much you care about whatever it is you're waiting for, it could still be really hard, because if the thing you're waiting for is something that's just going to ultimately change your life so much, make your life so much better, and really help you get on or continue on the path to bigger and better dreams that you have been waiting for, then of course it's going to be so much discomfort, and you're not going to want to do it. And I understand that, but it builds character when we have to endure during short-term discomfort. And I just want to encourage everyone that you can make it through anything if you just focus hard enough and you have a plan, and you remember what you're working for. And also, before you jump into things, you make sure it's worth it and that you have it planned out the best you can. I understand plans can change, but you just want to be able to be on top of it as much as you can. We live in a world driven by instant gratification, that having patience for things can be tough if we don't force ourselves to slow down and enjoy where we are and what we are working on at the moment. And I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why patience still has to be reminded of people to practice that, because we do live in such instant gratification. I mean, the fact that, during normal times where you can literally, and some things right now, you can just order something on Amazon and it can be at your door the next day, possibly, depending upon what's available in the warehouse near you. But you know what I mean? You could order something and it can be there the next day or 2 days later. You don't even have to wait on stuff. It's instant gratification of being able to just drive somewhere and just go to a restaurant and drive through and be able to get your food. You don't have to get out of the car. You don't have to sit at the table. You don't have to wait. You don't even necessarily have to talk to anyone except for just telling them what you want. So it's just those kind of things of being able to just get what you want so much quicker, that when you do have to wait and you do have to be patient for things, it can be tough at first. And I want to recognize that I understand that if you're so used to something and you have to make I guess you could say a dramatic change, or it is a dramatic change than what you're used to, I do want to recognize that can be tough, even if it sounds really silly and, you encounter someone that's like, oh my gosh, you're telling me you never have to wait for this? We have to wait for this all the time. It's like, no, don't pass that judgment on them, just realize that they're used to something else. Give them grace and help them figure out how they can practice patience so they can get better about being patient for whatever it is they have to wait for, as opposed to judging them and putting them down and not really helping them grow as a person. Do you know what I mean? So it's important to remember that, and we all face it. So we can't all say that we're all perfect and we got it going on, because we're all a work in progress. Absolutely, we are. So yeah, I think it's important that we need to force ourselves to slow down, really enjoy where we're at, what we're working on. Because if we're continually just trying to like speed through everything, and I will talk about this in another episode this week, but if we were just continually like pushing through, trying to speed through everything, how are we enjoying it? How are we really like feeling fulfilled? How are we really finding the joy in that if we're just, cruising on through and not even taking enough time to stop and take a couple pictures and smell the roses, right? We just need to have that opportunity, because it also allows us to have learning opportunities, to, meet people and have opportunities in our lives that we may not otherwise would have had if we hadn't take the time to kind of slow down and realize what's happening around us. Plus, you want to enjoy the moments leading up to that big thing, because you might turn your head in a blink of an eye, it's all over, and you don't even know what happened. And also, but you might be like, okay, well, the end thing is the only thing I really cared about, and I got that. But I'm like, okay, well, what if you have to do it again? You want to remember like what was happening. You want to have those memories to teach someone else if they want to lean on your expertise of how to go after that thing that you were able to accomplish. Also, what happens if you're just cruising through and you encounter problems, but you just like zoom on through them? Like, how are you going to learn what not to do in the future, or how to problem solve those issues, if you don't take the time to slow down and really see what's going on? Do you know what I mean? So enough on that. Patience can also mean being better at active listening, which means to not always jump ahead in your mind on what your response will be to someone. Instead, you will listen intently and then form a response based upon what that person said. And it's interesting, because when I was doing my research for these episodes this week, a lot of people in articles were talking about active listening in regards to patience. And it's actually not something that I fully have thought about, but it makes complete sense to me, because, and I will even do this, and I know that a lot of us will do this, and I think most of us have done this. And if you've gotten better at it, that's awesome. I feel like I've gotten better at it too. But a lot of times, if someone's talking to you and it's a lot, especially, or if it's on a topic that you are already very well versed in, you understand it, a lot of times, we'll already form an opinion, a response in our mind before the person even gets out what they're going to say. Or a lot of times, and this, I have experience with this too, of people doing it to me, it's where I will start talking about something and they'll think they know what I'm going to say, or they'll just jump out with an answer, and I'm like, you didn't even take the time to listen to what I was going to say. How do you know that's where I was going? And 50-50 chance that they're right or they're wrong. And if they're right, they're like, well, I already knew, like, see. But it's just, I find it important to practice active listening, because I just think number one, it's a sign of respect that you actually are spending the time to listen to whatever that person is saying, so that you can actually fully understand them and be able to form an appropriate response that actually relates to what they're saying, and not just jump ahead and already preform something in your mind and then spend the next 30 to 90 seconds thinking about something totally different until they're done talking. And like, what kind of relationship are you building if you're not fully engaging and listening to what they're saying? So I definitely wanted to hit on that, and I will be talking about this later in the week as well. But practice active listening goes hand in hand with patience, because if you don't have enough patience to just listen to what someone is saying, and generally I feel like people don't talk at you face to face, or maybe not even on the phone for more than a couple minutes at a time. If they do, believe me, I have someone in my life that does that, and it's really hard to like get a word in, but you have to practice that, or be like, hey, can I just jump in for a moment? I get that there's people out there like that. It's tough, but it's better for you to practice those skills so that you actually are listening to what people are saying. Maybe you'll be able to pick up on different cues and things they aren't fully saying straight on to you. But if they're having issues, you'll be able to actually like interpret things that are happening, ask deeper questions if you actually are trying to get to know this person. I'm just saying, it'll better your relationships, your community, and your life in general if you could just work on practicing active listening and your patience with people when you're doing that. Also, practicing active listening will help you from making assumptions about people, especially like within conversation. Because like I said, they'll say something and then you'll assume something immediately because you don't want to take the time to actually listen and understand and ask follow-up questions. And I think it's like one of the worst things to just assume you're going to know what someone's going to say or do. I understand that within relationships and friendships, things that you know about people so deeply that you can feel comfortable assuming that you know what they're going to do and say based upon history. I feel like that's one thing, but assuming everything that they're going to do and say, history or not, and not even taking the time to actually check and see if that's true, then that's assuming, and it's really disrespectful and unnecessary, absolutely unnecessary. So just in general, being patient is an important social skill to have in life. You want to be able to be patient with the people that you encounter on a daily basis. You want to be able to extend that kindness and care to others so that they will practice what they are receiving to other people, and then it will go on and on from there. I truly believe that, and that's why I spend a lot of my time, being really courteous to people, smiling, saying please and thank you, trying to have the best mindset and attitude I can, especially out with people that I don't know, like if I'm just whoever I'm encountering in the everyday world, which may be less people these days because of quarantine, but still, you want to do your best to be patient with others so that you will receive that back and people will be patient with you. Okay? So that's it for today. Again, happy Monday. I hope that you come back tomorrow and the rest of the week to hear the next episodes in regards to patience. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we were talking about why you are so impatient. So I really hope that you come back for that. Again, happy Monday. I hope that your day is going well or is getting better. It's just awesome. You're starting off the week strong and everything is just absolutely fantastic. So again, my name is Sabrina. This is the Real Positive Girl podcast. Thank you so much for joining. If you enjoyed this episode and you know someone that would benefit from it as well, I encourage you to share the episode with them and check the description box below for any notes for the show. Also, where you can find me on Instagram, or if you want to send me an email with any questions, comments, or concerns. So thanks again, guys. I really enjoy this. I enjoy it so much. I hope that it's actually helping someone, even if just one person. I will be completely satisfied. So have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.